When I was younger, I had really bad asthma, but I did not know I had asthma. I would have a cough, and the doctor said, oh, she's just getting sick, or she has allergies. They did an allergy blood test, and it came back negative, but they said the best test would be the needle test, and I did not want a bunch of little needles because I was, a kid and afraid of needles, and maybe still just a little bit afraid of needles now. But I got older and I would just deal with the cough. I'd take cough syrup or honey, gargle with honey or different things to try to mitigate it. And then I was at Castile and I went to the health center for something entirely different. And the doctor said, how long have you had asthma? And I said, I don't have asthma. And he said, well, that's an asthmatic cough. And I said, I don't have asthma. And then he treated me for whatever I was in there for. I don't even remember what that is. And a few weeks later, one of my friends said, I didn't know you had asthma. And I said, I don't have asthma. And I was a little irritated because the doctor had just said that. And I was saying, I don't have asthma. And she said, well, that's an asthmatic cough. And I have asthma. And that's what it sounds like. So a few weeks later, I went back to the doctor, a different doctor, and I said, I think I have asthma. And he said, I think you do too. And he put me on a medication. Medication took it away right away. The only problem was that it was something that you couldn't get pregnant while you were taking, and it also made wounds heal slowly. So you weren't supposed to get hurt. And I said, okay, I guess I won't get hurt. But then my son, who was 1 at the time, threw this little instrument and it hit me in the head and gave me a little scratch. And that scratch took 3 weeks to heal. And I thought, oh no, what if I'm in a car accident or I break a bone? It's going to take forever to heal, and that could be a real problem. Plus, I knew that I potentially wanted another baby and I couldn't get pregnant on this, and that was too much of a risk. So I went back to the doctor and asked to get weaned off of it, which he did, help me to wean off. He said there really wasn't another medication that you could get pregnant on that would help with asthma. So I decided to go the natural route, and I tried some different things, but nothing was working. And then I connected with an herbalist who recommended noni juice, specifically Tahitian noni juice. And she said that the other ones worked somewhat, but not as well, and that it wasn't worth spending money on something that wasn't going to work that well. So I got the Tahitian noni juice, and the first week I took it every time I coughed, which was a lot. And I went through a bottle in 3 days. So I would go through a bottle, 2 bottles every week for about the first 2 months. And then after that, my cough really started going away. And by 3 months, I did not have a cough anymore for the first time in my life. So it has been 20 years now, because that 1-year-old son is now 21. And I use Tahitian noni juice regularly. I've tried other ones and they don't work as well. The herbalist was right. They do work somewhat, but not quite as well. And there's no reason to spend my money on something that isn't going to work perfectly. And if I am near a fire, like in Southern California, we get fires a lot, the asthma will start to act up again. Or if I'm super sick, which is very, very rare, and then I'll just up the amount of noni juice I take again, and then it'll just go away. The cough will go away for sure. And I hardly ever get sick anyway, so probably because I take things to help my health, like Tahitian noni juice. The other really cool bonus about it is that it helps get rid of gray hair. So I have a lot of friends that have a lot of gray hair, and I tell them they should try noni juice, and they say, yeah, and then never try it. But maybe you should.